Savvy, Summer and Beyond by our speaker, Shawn Edgington. My name is Kathleen Willis, and I'm Superintendent of Schools, and I'm pleased to kick off this event tonight. This event is sponsored by the North Reading Community Impact Team, also known as the CIT. The CIT was the brainchild of our Chief of Police a little over a year ago. And at that time, he assembled a board that included himself, Police Chief Murphy. Would you wave to everyone, please? Thank you. Police Sergeant Thomas Romeo. I'm not sure if he was able to be here tonight. A member of our Board of Selectmen, Mr. Robert Masseri, Bob. Our Fire Chief, Chief Bill Warnock. North Reading Parks and Recreation Representative Rita Mullen, who is here. The Director of the Services at that time was Erica Hansen, and now will be Amy Luckowitz, and the Superintendent of Schools. So the mission of this partnership is to identify quality of life issues that impact members of the community, and then find creative and innovative solutions that address these underlying problems. So once we defined our mission and our goals, it became clear that we needed to include more members of the community to be effective. And that's when we created 6 different action teams. And each member of the board was assigned to at least one action team, and that is how we've arrived here this evening. My team is the K-12 Programs and Services Action Team, and they are the ones who organized this event for you tonight. I'd like to introduce them to you and thank them for the incredible amount of time and effort they put into making this night a reality. So I'd like to begin with Marcy Bailey, middle school parent. Marcy. Elementary school parents, Marina Trementosi. Marina. And we have Marlene Arena. Parent that couldn't be with us tonight is Scott Buckley, so I'd still like to thank him. High school teacher Claudia Brown, who is running our babysitting services. Thanks, Claudia. And middle school principal Catherine O'Connell. Catherine. I'd also like to thank Sarah Flores, who works with our presenter and assisted with covering all of the details that made it possible for Shawn to be with us tonight. Sarah, could you please wave? It's one thing to plan an event, and it's another to make sure everyone knows about that event. So I'd like to thank North Reading United for Education, and in particular, Gina McLaughlin and Christy Peroni for the email blast they sent out on our behalf, to all of our building principals for their frequent reminders, and the town departments and businesses who displayed our posters, and I'm sure you've seen them around town. Thank you to the Transcript, to Patch.com, and to NORCAM, our local cable company who is taping this event this evening. This program is funded through a grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and I'd really like to thank 2 individuals that really assisted us in obtaining that grant, and that is Representative Brad Jones, House Minority Leader, and Senator Bruce Tarr, Senate Minority Leader, for their support of this project. Picked up a navy blue folder on your way in this evening. There are helpful handouts on the right side of the folder that are specifically tied to the topics that will be discussed this evening. The documents on the left side of the folder include a feedback form about tonight's presentation, as well as an area on that form for us to gather your ideas for future presentations. Your input is important to us, so please take a couple of minutes to fill that out before you leave tonight. There will be students at each of the exits at the end of the evening to collect this form from you. So the format for this evening includes the presentation, an opportunity for questions and answers, and then time to mingle in the lobby for informal conversations with Shawn, the Noble Guys, we'll hear about them in a minute, members of the CIT, and others. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce author and speaker Shawn Marie Edgington. I will ask Shawn to introduce the Noble Guys to you when I'm done. Shawn is a cyberbullying prevention expert and your go-to cyber safety advocate. Shawn is the author of the best-selling book, The Parent's Guide to Texting, Facebook, and Social Media, Understanding the Benefits and Dangers of Parenting in a Digital World. The founder of the Cyber Safety Academy, the Great American Noble Challenge, and Teen Video Awards. Shawn is also the CEO of a national insurance firm where she provides risk management for companies across the country. And after a personal experience with her 16-year-old daughter, it went back when she was 16, being physically threatened and stalked by text and on Facebook, Shawn has made it her mission to help teens, educators, and parents take the necessary steps to promote digital responsibility for our nation's youth. Shawn lives in the San Francisco Bay Area and is passionate about her family and helping others. Please join me in welcoming Shawn Edgington.
Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate it. I also want to thank Principal Kathy O'Connell from this morning. We were at the middle school here today, and it was amazing. Your kids, if any of you guys have 6th, 7th, or 8th grade students at that school, they were all wonderful to work with. We were there just almost all day today. I'd also like to thank, of course, Marcy Bailey. She did a great job getting us here. And thank all of you for being here. I know your time is valuable, and I really appreciate it. So without further ado, I'll just tell you a little bit about the Great American Noble Challenge. That is a national nonprofit organization that I founded as a result of really writing this book and kind of coming to the point where I realized that as parents, we can only do so much. I had a situation with my daughter, and I can go into that in a little bit. This organization was really set forth so that we could inspire our kids, 13 through 18 years old, to really make a difference. And we do that through a video competition. We have them create short films and public service announcements. We then have them enter them into a big challenge, a big contest. And after that, we pick our nominees. We go through a judging process. Dr. Oz is one of our judges. We have a lot of celebrities, and it's just at Twitter, Facebook, VPs, and it's pretty incredible. But what's great is, we're going to show you a couple films tonight, is what we do is we take these nominees and we bring them to California and we do a big red carpet Teen Video Awards show. And that's really kind of the way that we inspire our students of today to really make a difference for tomorrow and to really spread a powerful message to create change at the youth level. So we really believe in peer-to-peer education. For me to stand up and talk to students and lecture them about what's right and what's wrong about social media really doesn't work, as opposed to having Scott and Tyler, the Noble guys, and other youth get up and talk about the films they've created and what they're doing to make a difference about this problem that we have. So anyways, you guys all got this book. Unfortunately, I wrote this book as a result of a really bad situation with my daughter. It was the first day of her senior year, and sorry guys. We had 30 kids come to school drunk first day of school. 2,400 kids in our high school, one of our high schools, really big school. My daughter was a student body officer. And long story short, what happened was by about 4th period, every single one of the kids were called in to the principal's office. They were either suspended or expelled. Depending on if it was their third offense, they were expelled. Well, what happened was a rumor went around that my daughter turned them all in and wrote a list, which wasn't the case. What happened was the principal called the student body officers in and asked them to make a decision about one of the kids that did come to school drunk, and it was the vice president of the student body, whether or not he got to stay on student council. Well, they decided that he did not get to stay on student council, that he broke the moral code, and he did not show the integrity that he needed to show as a vice president of the school. So I'm going to go to this one, it's a little better. Anyways, what happened was once this rumor got out that my daughter started this list, everything within an hour went by text up to Facebook, and this was about 2.5 years ago, so Twitter wasn't so big then. And by the time she got home from school, she was in tears. And she's like, Mom, this is what happened. I don't know what to do. I didn't do that. And so long story short, we got through it for the first few days. The principal decided that the kids did not have to make the decision, that he would make the decision. The kid got kicked off council. What happened after that, my daughter was very, very social. She was a cheerleader, she was a student. She had 100 best friends, and she changed. She just closed everyone out of her life. She hung out in her room. She kept her grades up. She was an A student, so she kept those up. And as a parent, honestly, I don't think I did enough. I really said, people start rumors. A couple weeks after all this happened, it all came out that she did not write the list. But the damage had been done. And a lot of her friends turned against her those first couple of days. And so she really kind of built up a way of just not being able to trust anyone. And it was really tough. This one of the girls that got expelled, she issued death threats against my daughter. And she said it was her fault. What happened is they ended up being the source of the rumor. And they found her one night at an In-N-Out Burger. We have those in California. And luckily there was a group of older men that saw what was going to happen, and they saved her. So it was good, because they found her through social media, actually, where she was going to be one night after a football game. Now, as a parent, one thing I want to talk about is there's things I should have done. We have police chief here, right? And one of the things is this girl ended up almost beating another girl to death a couple months after my daughter was out with my daughter. And this family had to get a restraining order against this girl. So apparently, she obviously had some problems. And when things go really, really bad, it's just sometimes we don't act quick enough, especially when it comes to social media. So it's one of the things I want to talk about tonight. And that is why I wrote the book, because I just felt so desperate that parents don't know what's going on. And my background is loss control and safety for businesses. So, and on top of that, I should have done something preventative. And then when I knew something was happening, that's when I should have been much more. I talked to the principal, we did all that stuff. But the one thing that happens is when you have kids in high school is that you really lose touch with all the other parents in a big school like that. I knew the middle school parents, I knew the elementary school parents, but when it was high school, I did not know this girl's parent. So I could not call and say, hey, this is what's going on, let's meet. It was just, that was not an option. So, anyways, long story short, I wrote this book, and I was actually giving an assembly for 5th graders one day, and I had 200 5th graders sitting on the floor in the gymnasium with their legs crossed. And I said, okay, how many of you guys have Facebook accounts? 80% of the hands went up. And these are all 10 and 11-year-olds. And I thought, oh my God, this is such a problem. Okay, how many of your parents know you have a Facebook account? 2 hands went up. And I thought, okay. Because it's so easy. Anyone can create a Facebook account, Twitter account, Instagram, anything just like that, and they can say how old they are. And then, you have to be 13 to have a social media account. And they can lie very easily. So I thought, all right, there's no way me, or 50 of me's, or 200 of me's can get out the word to every parent in America about this problem. And so then I thought, but wait a minute, I can't get the word out. I'm an old lady. These are 10 and 11-year-olds. That's why I wanted it to change the way we were really reaching the youth, which was through youth. And you'll learn about how we do that, and you'll see through Scott and Tyler as we move forward what they've been able to do as youth, and reaching out and really inspiring the kids to be positive and really to make change at the youth level. So anyways, we're here. We can go to the next slide, yeah. So to get started, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a look at a film called Alone. This was actually by Hunter Hopewell, 16-year-old student, and he is from Nevada. And I thought this would be a really great way for you all to take a look at what it's like to be a teenager with social media as what you're connected to all the time, 24/7.
Give her a hint. Can you give her a hint? She can't get the volume right. Is there something I can do here to make it? No, can you help her on the laptop? Get the volume or something.
The film Alone actually won third place documentary and leader award last year for the Nobel Challenge. And we might get it going. When we grow up, our media was just watching TV or listening to music, talking on a landline. I remember when we had like call waiting. Today, people rely on social media as a way of life. It's very different, obviously, than it was when we grew up. It's basically it's the way they communicate 24/7. It's interesting because I often wonder, like, how often do they actually have face-to-face conversations on the phone even, you know? And I used to get in trouble for talking on the phone way too much, and now it's like, I tell my dog, get on the phone, my son, get on the phone, have a call. About 93% of teens between the age of 12 and 17 go online on a regular basis, so that's pretty much close to everyone. Approximately 75% of teens have cell phones, and about 73% of teens have profiles on social networking sites. The average age now for a cell phone owner is 9.5 years old. Every year it just ages down. As you know, they communicate with friends, their friends, friends of friends, and sometimes strangers. They love Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and they text message 24/7. 27% of teens play games with people they don't know online, on games like World of Warcraft and Halo. And that's about 3 out of every 10 kids. It's interesting because a lot of times I think parents don't realize that our kids are playing games with people they do not know. And you just have to be really careful with that. I hear, especially in the younger ages, under the 5th grade and down, I hear so many stories about strangers reaching out to them, talking to them, asking them questions. And they're pretty smart because they say they just sign off. But that's happening, so just talk to your kids about that. That's one thing with the gaming, it's really, really crazy. So I have a couple questions actually. Does anyone have an idea as to how many Facebook active users there are today? Anyone have like a guess? A billion? Really close. 1.1 billion. And mobile users are at 56% for Facebook, just over last year. So that tells you everything is just, we all know that, everything's going down to the mobile phone. If Facebook were a country, it'd be the 2nd largest country in the world, under China. It's crazy. How about Instagram? Anyone have any idea how many users are on Instagram? 100 million already. And most of us know that Facebook bought Instagram for $750 million and change last year. But YouTube. How many active users are on YouTube? 1 billion. How about how many, Scott and Tyler tonight, what'd you guys do during our break? We had an hour break. They're on YouTube, watching videos. That's what they do, watch videos. There's over 400 billion videos watched every month on YouTube. It's a lot. Now Twitter is really taking off. They've got 16.5 million tweets an hour, 400 million a day. And you'll notice that, I don't know about, does anyone have any high school students in the room? Do they have Twitters now? Pretty much all of them? Yeah. A lot of them are going, it's different from state to state, but a lot of them are going, Facebook isn't as cool anymore now, and now we're going to Twitter and Instagram. And in Ohio, where these boys are from, the Noble guys, Facebook is very popular. Twitter's not so much. So it just really depends on where we're going, where we are. So obviously with social media, information becomes visible in seconds and global. And one thing I heard which was really interesting was that why Twitter is so popular now over Facebook is Twitter's faster. Facebook isn't fast enough. They want fast, fast, fast. So the benefits of social media, there's lots of them, right? They can reach a vast audience. They can promote themselves. Maybe they want to be a pop star, and they can create a music video, and they can go viral, and they can end up on Good Morning America, like the Friday Girl, right? Look at the No Bull guys. I mean, these guys are amazing, and they are able to spread their message around the world instantly with social media. We all use it every day, all of us adults pretty much, right? I mean, it does a lot of great things. And so I think what's important is that we just really be proactive when it comes to our kids using social media. And that's really what I'm all about. Instead of being reactive, more proactive. So one of the things too is with one of our videos, our second place winner for last year, is one of them, it got 600,000 views on YouTube. And it got so popular that South Park did a parody on it. So I mean, that's a way, it was a positive message, anti-bullying message, it got 600,000 views. So another way social media is just really great. So one thing about the internet and social media is that everything is searchable in seconds. I mean, I always wonder, what did I do BG before Google? I mean, I go to Google for everything. It's like, oh, like we were talking about today at dinner. You don't have to go to the library, you just go to Google. And so I wanted to give you guys a really cool resource. It's called the Wayback Machine. And what you can do is waybackmachine.com. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to see what Google looked like when it started in 1998, 98, yeah. And so this is what it looked like. So you put in the address, and you can pull up any web page, and you pick the date. And so I picked September 1998, which is when Google went live. And this is Google Beta. And you could actually do a search for Stanford, a special search. See that up on the left? It's pretty awesome. So if you want to look at any web page, what they do is they chronologically just save all the data every day, every web page in the world is just saved on the Wayback Machine. So you can search any web page on any given day. It's really cool. So anyway, my point is that you can find anything really easily. You can go here and you can find whatever was there that day, even if you took it down. Somehow you took it off. You can go, there's a lot of resources like this. And so one of the things we talk about is the importance of teaching your kids the importance of thinking before they actually post it. Like, even if it's a couple of seconds, they just don't think about it, and they don't realize that when they especially put a photo or a video up online in a public forum, especially Twitter, it's there forever. Try getting it down. Google is not going to take an image down very easily. I've heard of people having to take Google to court to do it, to get a photo down. They could not get down. So it's really, really important because people like us, people like anyone who's hiring, we all do searches now on Google. And I go right to images, and I look. It's very damaging to reputation. I mean, adults do this. We do this. Adults do this. I mean, we hope that you don't do this, but adults do it. We make mistakes. We post things, and they should not be posted. And so the important thing is just to really, really, really talk to your kids about, wow, can you imagine what would happen if, don't even use them, use someone else as an example. If this was posted, and we actually have a really good video submission this year about a boy who posted some stuff online and he couldn't get a job, and he goes through interview, they showed him getting his background check on Google, and he was just rejected. He ended up working at a pizza parlor because of what he posted. Again, I think my point is that it's permanent. I always say it's whatever you put out there is like a tattoo. It's almost worse, because tattoos you can get removed now. You cannot get what you put up there, whether it's a video, it's written, or if it's especially an image. It's forever. And I want to give you guys a really good resource also. I set this up for my kids when I learned about it. I set a Google alert for their name, and also for your school name, the schools they go to. I want to be the first to know if there's a bomb threat I want to know if there's an emergency going on at the school, because it will hit social media before you're going to get a call or an email or anything. So it's so easy to do, and you can do it for anything. You can do it for a competitor for business, but I use it for my kids and for their school names, because I want to know. I don't want to be the last, I want to be the first to know. So one thing about social media is it can be really anonymous, and our youth are fabulous at creating fake profiles and using them to destroy their peers. And it happens everywhere, all over the world, all the time. It happens with Twitter, it happens with Facebook, Instagram, and it is one of the worst things that I've seen happen on social media. In fact, I'd like to take a minute and I'd like to read part of the foreword of my book, because it has to do with just this. It was actually written by Tina Meyer. She is the founder of the Megan Meyer Foundation. And she's actually become a very good friend of mine. When I wrote my book, I donated the proceeds for the first month of the sales to her foundation. And she's an amazing, amazing woman. And this happened to her. So I'm going to read, these are her words. Megan was getting ready to turn 14 years old when she asked if she could have a MySpace account. I wasn't too thrilled about it, but I told her that she could if she adhered to following the rules. Megan didn't have the password for her account. I did. Her profile had to be kept private. I had to approve all the content and pictures that were put on MySpace. Computers were always in open spaces. They were never allowed in her bedroom. I had a program that monitored every instant message and web page that Megan went to. Yes, I was a really overprotective mother. You see, I was worried about the sexual predators that roam the pages of social networking sites and prey on young teens. Believe me, Megan wasn't thrilled about all the rules, but she wanted a MySpace account badly enough that she accepted them. Megan started adding her friends from her old school and her new ones from her new school. Approximately 3 weeks later, Megan received a friend request from a boy named Josh Evans. She thought, he is so hot, and asked me if I could accept him as a friend. I told her she couldn't, but if he said anything negative or sexual, she said she could accept him as a friend, but if he said anything negative or sexual, then she would delete him immediately. Yes, I know. How could I let Megan add someone that she didn't know in real life, right? Her daughter didn't know who Josh was. She just thought he was hot online. I wanted to make sure that she didn't go to another computer and make up a different MySpace profile and add him without my knowledge. That was her concern. Josh offered Megan all the things that she'd never heard from a boy her age. You're beautiful, you have beautiful eyes, you have a great smile, and so on. This went on for 5 weeks, and Megan told me that Josh liked her and she liked him. I would say, Megan, how can you have a relationship with someone you online that you don't even know in real life? They could be a 10-year-old child playing a game or a 4-year-old sexual predator. Megan would laugh and put her hands in the air and say, Mom, please, I know him. On October 15, 2006, Megan was finishing up her birthday invitations and asked if she could get on MySpace. I signed her on, and she looked puzzled and said, Mom, Josh sent me a message saying he didn't want to be friends with me anymore and that no one likes me. The next day, I picked Megan up from school, and she said, Mom, everyone is coming to my party, and it's going to be so great. When we arrived home, Megan asked if she could go on MySpace and see if Josh had responded, which he had. His message said, you heard me. No one likes you, and I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Megan was confused and asked him, what are you talking about? And where are you getting this from? They went back and forth at approximately 10 minutes until I told Megan it was time to sign off. Then I had to leave.
Things quickly went from bad to worse. I left my house to take my younger daughter to the orthodontist, and when I returned home, I found Megan at the computer sobbing. I asked her to get up and let me see what was going on. Messages, bulletins, comments were running rampant on my space between Megan and Josh and 2 other girls that had gotten involved. The message ranged from "you're not a nice person" to vulgar, hurtful, and downright mean words. I said to Megan, "You're not the things that they are calling you," she responded. "Who's going to believe me? They're going to tell everyone at my school." I said, "Megan, you should have listened to me and signed off when I told you to. We could have handled this differently." Now this had turned into war. Megan looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "You're supposed to be my mom. You're supposed to be on my side," and ran off to her room. It had been about 20 minutes when all of a sudden I had this terrible feeling run through my body, and I took off to Megan's room upstairs. I opened her door and found my baby hanging lifelessly from her closet. I screamed for her dad and ran up the stairs frantically, grabbed Megan down, and started giving her CPR as I called 911. Megan was transported to the hospital the evening of October 16, 2006, in a coma, and passed away on the 17th, just weeks shy of her 14th birthday. It's the worst possible feeling to hold your child as they take their last breath. So at the hospital, and she's just like, how could this happen? Like, it was 20 minutes, right? So anyways, what happened was about 5 weeks later, she got a call from her neighbor. And her neighbor said, "I really need to talk to you. Can you come over? We need to have a meeting. It's about Megan." So she says when we arrived at the meeting, we were informed that Josh Evans, the boy that Megan had talked to for 5 weeks on the internet, was a fake person. It was really Lori Drew, a 47-year-old mom who lived 4 houses down the street. Her daughter, Sarah Drew, who was 13 years old and had been friends with Sarah since the 4th grade, and an 18-year-old girl, Ashley Grills, who worked part-time for Lori, the mother. The reason they created this fake account was to see if Megan was talking about Sarah behind her back, because they heard Megan had called her a bad name. Megan and Sarah's friendship had its ups and downs, and anyways, long story short, that's a fake profile, and that's really taking it to the extreme. But this was a parent that did the fake profile. We usually hear that it's usually teenagers that do that. It just takes minutes to set it up. So really, really, really listen to your kids. I should listen to my daughter a lot closer when she came to me. So that's one of my big messages, is communicate as much as you can and listen, and don't let them be strangers with friends online. Don't let them be friends with strangers online. They say that we're overreacting. They'll tell you, "Oh, please, everyone has 3,000 friends." The reality is that it's not the case. I call it the circle of trust. And I believe that who you have on your social network should be who you trust. And really, at the end of the day, how many people do we all really, really trust? It's not 2,000 people. As we get older, I think it does get better. But when you're in high school and in middle school, we talk about this actually to the kids today, is that really trust needs to be earned. It should not be an automatic thing. And especially online, if you can help talk to your kids about that, about how not to trust strangers online and not to trust everyone, even they say they're going to be their friend, because stuff happens quickly for people who are just out there to not do good things. And my point here is that it can happen to anyone, anytime, anywhere, and no one's immune. And really, this is really a big point for me. I come from I grew up in Pleasanton, California. I live there now. It's a lot like this town. It's a beautiful town. You have very involved parents and teachers and educators and administration, And wow, you're all here tonight. And you think, this is not gonna happen in my town. And it does happen. It happens anywhere. It can happen anywhere. I was lucky because my daughter didn't want a Facebook account until she was like 15, because and I wasn't lucky about this part, but the reason why is she was scared. A girl in the next town over, she actually made friends with a stranger, and she disappeared, and they found her like 2 weeks later, and she was killed. And when the kids found out about that, they were all really scared, and my daughter didn't want to have anything to do with that. So I was really lucky because she started on Facebook at 15, whereas now it's like 10 and 11 that we're all dealing with these issues. And the older the better, because they're a little bit more mature to handle what happens online. One thing else about before we go on to predators is that with cyberbullying, there's really 3 big ways that it happens to our teens. Is that we talked about the anonymous pages being set up, also stolen passwords. For some reason, our kids don't have a problem giving their best friends their passwords or their friends their passwords. And what happens is their friends will go on and they will, I call it hijacking. They'll hijack their profile and they'll add comments. They might post a status and say something awful, and it looks like I'm saying it, where it's someone else is posting on my profile. And it causes drama really quickly, and it goes viral, and it can be very, very damaging. So one thing is really, really important is to talk to your kids about their passwords. It is, no one gets that password. And it should be difficult, just like when you're using your passwords, it should have numbers and letters, and teach them the importance of that, because as they grow up, they're still going to need to keep their passwords private. The other thing is forwarding and altering messages and content. If you send me a text message, I can take that, I can forward it. Before I forward it, I can edit it all up and add words that you didn't really say. I can screenshot it and I can post it to Facebook. I can forward out to my whole address book. And that's what kids do all the time. So they think a text message is really private. It is not private. It is instantly up online for everyone to see. Just like any photo, any video. The other thing about online harassment is 1 in 3 teens have experienced it. So talk to your kids about it. And talk to them, I always talk to them about, not happening to them, but what about a friend? Does this happen to any of your friends? Have you seen it? Have you witnessed it? Have you watched it? What do you do? Do you get it? Do you stand up? Do you make a comment? Or do you just watch it? The other thing is, girls are more likely to be victims of cyberbullying, which is interesting. They're 38% more likely versus boys at 26%. I think it's because we talk a lot. I'm not sure. All right. So we're at the fun slide. Not fun at all. 71% of teens receive messages from strangers online. That's a big number. Our kids are getting messages all the time, like I said. Those 5th graders, they're getting messages all the time from people that are asking them questions that they do not know. 1 in 25 teens receive online sexual solicitations. And 25% of reported incidents, teens were asked for sexual photographs. That is a biggie. And you're thinking, why would any teen give a sexual photograph to someone? But they don't even know. It happens. Because predators seek youths that are vulnerable, including those with histories of sexual or physical abuse, those who post sexually provocative photos and videos already, they look for that. And those who talk about sex with unknown people online. So that happens again through chat rooms, direct messages on Facebook, gaming, all, you name it, it's there. In many of the cases you hear about, a child who has met up with a predator willingly, and in many cases even went to great trouble to cross state lines, often because they've been manipulated to believe in a person who loves them or someone different in real life from who they thought they were. So that kind of goes to Megan. I mean, she didn't ever meet Josh. She thought she knew who Josh was, and she didn't have to meet him, and she took her life at the age of 14 years old, or almost 14 years old. Large majority of kids know how to block messages from people they don't know, which is great, and that's the good thing. The good news is that most of our kids know how to do this. They know when it's creepy. They know when kids are creeping them. They're smart. I mean, like I said today, the kids today, they know when things are not right, which is great. So just remind them the power of blocking, and remind them that their list of friends should just be people, again, they know in real life. So, I ask myself this all the time, what is the formula for our success? I mean, our kids know way more than we know when it comes to social media, right? I mean, they can run circles around us on Twitter, on Facebook. So how do we deal with that? What do we do? And this kind of comes back to keep the communication open, talk a lot, listen even more, and I think what I want to do is I want to show you the film that we showed all the kids, all the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in school today, because this is not just applicable to teens, this is applicable to all of us. And it's our first place award-winning film from last year, and they loved it, and I think you will too. So I'd like to let you guys watch this really quick. Austin Barker from Texas, 18 years old, high school student, senior.
There's a formula to everything I can do in high school. Planning for anything shouldn't take long if you know what you're doing. Good thing I know what I'm doing. Usually. If you want to accomplish something in a place such as high school, you have to think realistically. But you can't think realistically about something you don't know about. So, my advice, study. It's amazing how much you can learn about something just by opening your eyes. And I don't mean that as an offense, it's true. You might not realize it, but I'm studying you every day. And no, not on a creepy level. On your deepest level. If you just look at someone in an unbiased way, you can learn anything about them. If you want to create your own personal textbook on something or someone, you can't bring gossip to the table. You can't say, I heard this or I heard that. That won't work if you want to know who someone really is, or for that matter, how something really works. You need to gather your information based on fact. Personal, first-hand fact. And sometimes that can be painful, but it works. I'm not going to lie, you're going to make mistakes along the way, but if you learn from them and then figure out how to use that knowledge to your advantage the right way, you can accomplish anything. To study a person, you look at their actions, and then you ask, why? Watch their movements, their reactions, and then you say, why did they do this? Why not that? Then you use your previous knowledge on that person to answer that question. If you've got the eye, you can find out a lot about who someone is on the inside. The process may sound complicated, but it really isn't. Sometimes all it takes is just a good memory and a humble personality. A person's actions don't even have to be purposely studied. Sometimes you can do it subconsciously and not even know it. Just pay attention, and eventually everything you've experienced with something or someone will add up and become a certain truth. Don't trust her, never do that again. Any outcome you want can be reached. You just have to figure out how to get to it. And also realize that occasionally, some outcomes can't be reached. Again, not everything can work out for someone, especially a teenager. Another factor you should pay attention to is trust. Let someone earn it. Don't let a stranger into your life where they don't belong. Your business is your business, so keep it that way. Protect it. Who you let into your business is your business as well. Only the people you trust should have the privilege to be let into your deepest thoughts and emotions. It's at our weakest point that our thoughts and emotions will let loose our secrets. So it's important to set up a dance space with people, or a bubble if you will. If there's one thing you can count on in high school, it's that people are always talking. And it's because of this fact that if you listen close enough, you'll be able to tell your friends from your enemies. Other things you want to keep in mind are what you can or can't get away with. And I think this is mostly based on your relationships with people. Good relationships open up more opportunities, bad ones provide more obstacles. Bad relationships with people are unavoidable. It's going to happen to you no matter what. But like I said, if you know what you're doing, you can avoid any obstacle that gets in your way. In today's world, the phrase sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me is a false statement. Words hurt just as much as a punch. And it's not always as easy to, as many suggest, ignore it. It's almost impossible. And it's terrible that people have to resort to ignoring the hurt that people cause, because hurt shouldn't be being caused at all. If you had the chance to do something nice for someone, wouldn't you choose that over hurting them? None of us are guaranteed the next heartbeat. Why not use it for good? Why not use it to swallow our pride and say, I was wrong, or I'm sorry? People shouldn't have to worry about what people think of them, because people should keep their opinions to themselves and the people they trust. It's bullying, plain and simple. And now many children affected by it can't even escape it at home. Cyberspace has evolved and adapted for the people who profit from the game. If I want to share something to someone about anyone, I don't talk about them behind their back. I talk about my feelings towards them. I don't say, this is true. I say, in my opinion. And it's because people don't do this that the voices of hurt can't be stopped at school, but continue online and at home. Just like the hurt itself.
You may not think I'm an athlete.
You may not think I'm a leader.
You may not think I'm an artist. You might not think I'm a writer.
You may not think I'm a good leader.
A good artist. But you know what? There are a lot of people who do.
Your opinion's not going to stop me from being me.
We don't care.
We don't care. Do you think we're so oblivious to your comments?
Do you think you're so quiet?
We like who we are.
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 So keep your opinion to yourself.
It's yours for a reason.
You don't have to be everyone's friend, but it'd be nice to let them know you're their enemy. Not necessarily by word of mouth, but at least with a smile. In passing, across the room. Hey, how are you doing every now and then? Change takes effort, but you can choose how much you give or make. This is my formula. There are many like it, but no two are the same. A formula is defined as any fixed or conventional method for doing something. It's a certain way of going about life, going about people, going about situations. It's not always an exact science, but it's always effective. Sometimes in the most unpredictable ways. You may not always agree with the components of one's formula, but respecting it is a different situation. Just because you don't believe or agree with the components of one's way of life doesn't mean you can disrespect it. It's a theory, yes. But what's stopping us from testing it?
So he says in there that we all make mistakes. Why don't we learn from them? I guess that's what I've done, right? That's what you guys talked about earlier today, right? Same thing. Take them and turn them around and make them a good thing. What's amazing about Austin is that he has since gone to college after entering this contest. And he got his first job as a filmmaker with a company called Balfour, which is, you guys probably know them, big yearbook and rings and graduation stuff. And they hired him to be a consultant on an anti-bullying documentary that they're actually going to be rolling out to all the schools across the nation this next year. And so he not only edited the script, they flew him out and he did some they did some shoot with him, and then he basically put the whole documentary together for him. So in his words, it's like, it's a dream come true. I actually got paid. You know, he got like $5,000. He thinks it's like he won the lottery, but he's getting to do what he loves to do, and he got $5,000 for doing it. So anyways, I'm happy for him that that's what happened. So these are the kind of the things that we went through with the students at North Reading High School, North Reading Middle School. And The first one was we really talked about forgetting about gossip and gather the information on firsthand. I think this is a big one because we all we even rely on Google or the internet to tell us what's right and what's wrong. Even as adults, we do that. And so if you guys can help your children, try to ignore the gossip. I know this is really, really basic, but it's so important because they're looking at it on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. The next one, Austin says, is to study people and use your knowledge to figure out who someone is on the inside. Experiences add up and they become the truth. I think that's really a powerful statement. And that trust is earned by real friends and to protect yourself and set up a bubble. And I think this, especially with social media, is one of the most important things that when it came to my daughter and her experience, she deleted her Facebook after about a month, and that's one of the things that she said that she should have done a lot sooner. And when she talks to kids all the time, she says, do not be afraid to delete your Facebook, your Twitter, just take it down. Because what happens is she says that she was fighting back, she was defending herself. No, I didn't say that, I didn't do that. And so what happens is that you jump in the ring and there's an argument, and it happens online, and everyone sees it, and it gets bad. And so one of the things that she did finally is she realized that she had to take the whole thing down because it was out of control. She did that, and that's when things really started to get a little better for her as far as all the rumors and gossip going away. But that took a month, and she's like, I should have done that after the first 4 days. So if you could talk to your kids about, hey, take it down, we can rebuild it in a couple weeks when all this stuff goes away. When things go really crazy, don't be afraid to take that down. He says, be careful with who you let into your circle and to focus on the good relationships. Again, circle of trust. I mean, I have 5 really good friends. I know all of us have just a handful of really good friends we can really trust. And the thing is with our social sites and our kids, they put everything up there. And they've got hundreds of kids that are looking at all their very personal information. And it's just, you see this all the time, I'm sure. They're putting there maybe their phone numbers and their schools where they go to school and what their schedule is like when they have practice. And really that personal stuff has no business up there. Take a look at your kids' social net. Go on their Facebook, go on their Instagram, see what they're posting. You guys can all get on that. Look at their Twitter accounts. Words hurt, and people shouldn't cause hurt, and to keep their opinions to yourself. We'll go into this a little bit later. And respect other choices, online and off, and change takes effort. And I think that's a big one. I think respecting other one's choices, whether they believe in their choices or not, whether they agree with them, it's really about respect. So in your folder, you guys have what's called the rules of engagement. And this is one of the most powerful tools you can use, especially when your children are younger, before they get a cell phone, before you let them have their Facebook account. I have contract background and risk management and safety, so I'm all about contracts. My kids, the very first thing before they even drove a car, they would have a contract about their grades had to be up a certain, and they had to sign it. And the thing is when you go through something like this, and you talk about these are all talking points on here, you don't really need to know what you're talking about. Just read these. You'll know when you read them, and they'll know exactly what you're talking about. And when they have to sign their name and date it, that's a big deal for them. They probably haven't executed a contract yet. They believe that you are going to hold them to this. So I did this to my kids, my poor kids. I make them do contracts for everything. The first one is I will not pretend to be someone else by creating a false profile. I will not post foul and inappropriate language. I will not post or view inappropriate photos, videos online. I understand posting inappropriate photos or videos will stay on the internet forever. I will not set up face-to-face. I chat or Skype meetings with anyone I don't know. If my friends use inappropriate language, I will ask to delete it, and I will remove it from my page. I will keep all of my social networking accounts private. That's a biggie. Privacy settings are really important, and there's usually like 10 places that you have to set the privacy settings. So make sure you go through and walk through that before you set up your child's account. The other thing that we've had happen is checking in. I'm sure everyone knows what checking in is, but just in case you don't, you're able to go to Starbucks and click check in, and it'll put your GPS location where you are at that time, and your photo's gonna pop up. We had a situation where a girl had checked in at the movie theater with a group of her friends, and she had a couple of strangers, this one stranger in her circle of trust, I call it, and he went to that movie theater because he was watching her, he was stalking her. So I think that's really important that you talk to your kids about checking in. The other thing that happened recently actually in our town was that a parent actually checked in. They were in like Cabo San Lucas, and their house got robbed the next day. So be careful when you're on vacation and you're bragging about it, because some people could be watching that. Talks about I will not bully or harass anyone online for whatever reason. I won't participate in sexting. I had a situation where I had a dad actually call me, and he said that his 8-year-old daughter had gotten a sext request from a boy in her class. And she came home and said, "Dad, what is a sext?" So I'm like, okay, first of all, what does an 8-year-old have? Do I have like a phone, an iPhone, or anything, a smartphone? But second of all, wow, 8 years old. So when you kind of wonder, when should I start talking about sexting? Like, that's crazy, an 8-year-old? But a lot of their classmates have older brothers, older sisters, and so they're learning all this stuff. They're watching it on TV, and so it's really, if they're gonna have a cell phone at 8, then you gotta go through and talk about all these things, including sexting, because you're giving them the power to do all that stuff. Unless you're gonna turn off the ability to send and receive an image, which you can do with your wireless provider. You can call them and disable the ability to send and receive images, MMSs, which is a great way to get around that until you think that they're ready and they've earned that trust. It says that if they do get harassed online, they're going to talk to you about it, or someone, or the proper authorities. They'll never accept a friend request from someone they don't know. For Facebook, places, and Foursquare, and Instagram locations. So basically, they're not going to check in again there. I understand that my parent or guardian will be watching what is being said and posted. I understand Skype allows complete strangers to view your personal information. Be careful with Skype if your kids have Skype accounts. Skype is, I have a Skype account, and I get strange, creepy messages all the time. So it's not very common that our kids have Skype accounts, but some do if they have relatives living overseas or across the country. So just be really careful of that. But they don't have any personal information, no photo, not their age, anything like that. So it also talks about their online image reputation. We're going to go into that a little bit later. But that is so huge, and I really believe that social media can be such a great thing for promoting a brand and an image, especially if they want to get a job or if they want to go to college, because everyone is looking at, again, they're doing background checks on social media. What we're going to do is we are going to work on getting an editable version of this on our website so that you can take and add things that apply to you. Like one thing we have in our home is, when can you use a cell phone at dinner, at the table? That's one thing that just drives me insane. There is no cell phones at the dinner table allowed. So like that'd be something that we have in ours. And you could do things like that. You could have hours of when you can have your, okay, 10 o'clock is when the cell phone's off. Now that's the other thing too, is that one of the tools I use is called parental controls. It just depends on your wireless provider. But what I did finally is all of our kids go cell phones. They get texts all night long. They're up till 2, 3 in the morning, and it's really crazy because they come to school the next day. We heard about this today, and they're exhausted. They're zombies because they've been up all night long. Maybe drama was going on, just depending on what's happening. So what we always recommend is your wireless provider has hours a day. You can go Monday through Friday. Their cell phone can work from 7 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. After that, nothing. So you can set hours of when they can receive phones and text messages and access the internet. It's a great tool because a lot of parents are having to collect cell phones, put them out in the living room or the family room, and then pick them up the next day. So you don't have to really micromanage that. You can just have the service do it for you. The contract doesn't really work that well when you have a 16-year-old or 17-year-old because they've already had all this. They've already had the privileges. And the other thing too is that you're gonna have to figure out what the consequences are if they break the rules, obviously. So you're having to sign a contract, but then what are the consequences if they break any of these rules? So again, that's something that you can customize hopefully on this. We do have a whole set of consequences already pre-drafted, like kind of like when your employer writes you up and you get a warning, a 30-day warning, and so we have all the warrant. We have like a three-tier process for your children if they go through this process. If you don't want to take the phone away right away, you want to give them a warning, you can do that. So we have all those resources. Yeah, they're online, they're free, everything's free. I like this one. We were talking about this at dinner for graduation. We thought for the kids who couldn't show up, we could just tweet out the directions on how to graduate. They didn't have to come to practice anymore. Probably be more effective. So if you can do one thing, I think this is the most important thing. One of them is this right here. Because everything they say, everything they do, everything they post, it's creating an image, an online brand, if you will. Starbucks, Fortune 100 companies they spend billions of dollars on creating a brand. And we can create our brands. And so we want our kids a good, solid brand, something that to be proud of, and it won't from getting into going out. I hear about it all the time about how seniors and juniors in high school got through that college application process and accepted, and then they were declined after all the research was done for online. They didn't want to go to school. This is happening for jobs more and more. It's like 84% of employers now are doing research online to see what our kids are posting before they'll even bring them on for a job. So it's so important if you could, I'm very careful about what I post. I pretty much got to the point where I hardly post anything anymore, I probably need to post more now. I was just talking to the boys about that earlier today. I'm just so careful because things can just get taken out of context too, and it's trust and it's privacy, and you really don't want if our kids can understand the importance of that, I think that's huge. What they put up there, an image says so much more than words. You can look at a photo and you can think, they could be innocent and the photo doesn't look like they are. And it takes explanation. But someone who's just going to snap judgment, they're not going to see that. So really, that's big. And videos are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So just make sure, watch what they're posting up there with the videos. Ask them what's their purpose for creating it, who's going to see it. Ask them all those questions. All right. How to help when trouble hits. Take it really seriously, really seriously. This is where I blew it. We took it seriously. I went down to the principal. I didn't take it serious enough. I didn't realize what was happening. I saw what was happening to her, but I didn't realize to the degree of what was happening. with her. Thousands of text messages were coming in, thousands. We blocked numbers, we did all kinds of stuff. We didn't do it fast enough. You can block cell phone numbers. That's so easy to do. If your child is getting harassed, call your wireless provider and block that phone number. Block it. They will not get the message anymore. And the person that is sending it will not know they blocked it. It's a phone call. You can block, of course, email addresses. You can block any person who has a social profile. You can block them, and they won't know. I'm confident your kids know how to do that. They might not realize they can block a text message. Help them with that if that happens. If necessary, contact the school, and don't just contact them like I did. Go down there. Spend time. Ask them for help. They'll help you. This happened to my daughter in 2009. That was when schools didn't really have a lot of policies and procedures. They have them now. They know what to do. They can help you. Law enforcement. I mean, there was a lesson that was not being done then. Now we have anonymous ability to text in tips and stuff that have to do with social media stuff. In California, we have that in our town. You might have it here. But there's a lot of help out there. I should have gotten a restraining order against the girl who was after my daughter, and I didn't do it, and I will never hesitate again to do that. Keep all your proofs. Take the screenshots, print everything. Keep it all, every single bit of it. And help your child file complaints. Every social network has lots of people working in their safety and security divisions. I spent a lot of time at Facebook and at Twitter, and Facebook's security division is bigger than this room, filled with cubicles of people that just handle complaints, that are just taking profiles down, that are just responding to situations. I'm sure you've had to deal with Facebook and Twitter. Twitter's kind of, in the last probably year, they've grown from not really having a lot of problems to all of a sudden crazy problems, and they really haven't built their infrastructure yet to deal with that. They're working on it really, really hard, and their CEO is amazing. Like, he cares about that. It's one of his big priorities, and they will help you. Sometimes you feel like it's impossible, but this is easy to block. This is easy to report when something is inappropriate online. So one of the things here is I'm a big believer in listening to your gut. When you think that something doesn't seem right, it isn't, most of the time. And we go, you know what, maybe it is okay. This book, I don't know if anyone's read it, it's called Blink. It talks just about that, about the importance of listening to your gut a lot more. The bottom line is that when your kid comes to you and they're in trouble and you go, oh my gosh, this is just drama, this is just silly kid stuff, but your gut's telling you, maybe not, listen to your gut. It's a great book. I really highly recommend it. He's also the author of The Tipping Point. I'm sure most of you probably read that too. Report harmful online speech. That's one of the things that you really need to report. Any kind of harassment, stalking, threats of violence, weapons, and pornography. So what was really interesting to me is, remember last year when we had the shooting in Ohio? Not very far away from you guys. When the student came into the school and he went to the cafeteria, and I believe there was 2 that were killed and 2 that were hurt very badly. Is that right? That were hurt, yeah. Badly, right? Okay. What was really interesting about that is that the young man who brought the gun to school, he had posted on Facebook that he was bringing a gun to school before he did it. And no one did anything. All the kids that saw that didn't believe it. Oh, I must be kidding. Oh. I mean, there was warning there, and those kids saw that. And so that's one, so what I did was, is we, the Great American Noble Challenge, we have 23 youth, teens that sit on our advisory council. And we did a survey with them, and we asked them, if you saw, and these are leaders, these are like 4-H leaders of a whole state. These kids are amazing kids from all over the country. And we asked them, if you saw something like, I'm bringing a gun to school because I'm bringing a bomb to school and I'll blow the whole place up, what would you do? Would you report it? That's what we asked. The answer for almost every single one was no. Was no. Because they weren't going to believe it. I was like, wow, like if I saw that, I would definitely believe that. I would not think that would be a joke, because that's not a joking matter. But for some reason, our students, our kids, they believe that is not, that is, no one is, they're not taking it seriously. They don't believe that it's really going to happen. So that's one thing you can talk to your kids about is, if they see anything like that online, to report it right away. Go to their principal. Go to the police, go to the authorities, tell you, then you guys got to do something about it. Of course, pornography, and I talked about the power of restraining order. So here is the fun part, because again, I believe in inspiring our kids and doing something good with social media, using it for the positive, and using it to promote a message, an important message that most of our kids are having trouble with every single day of their lives in school and at home all the time. It's not just school, it's everywhere. And that's really other kids being digitally irresponsible, right? So it's bullying. And it's really bad when it happens online because it's like the dog pile effect. Or it's like you're standing in the middle of a let's say a square in the middle of your town, and people are throwing stones at you, and you're in the middle, and you have the scarlet letter, and you're being stoned to death. That's what it feels like, except for could be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of their peers. It's worse than that, because these are their peers that they are so worried about impressing. So that's why I started the Great American Noble Challenge. We're a nonprofit, and it's free to anyone, anywhere. We are a contest, and we do it by inspiring our kids to really get involved to make a change. That's really our big goal. And it's peer-to-peer is our primary focus. We believe that kids are going to educate other kids better than I am any adult is going to educate. When it comes to social media, don't get me wrong, Kathy. It's called the Noble Academy. And we have a bunch of classroom resources. One of them we use today. We have toolkits for parents, educators, and teens. The great thing about the teen toolkit is that our youth advisory council, the teens, they created it. It's in their language. It talks about what to do, what to say, how they can make changes, and it's really a great resource because it's not adults talking in language they understand. So with that, I'd like to bring up the Noble guys, Scott and Tyler from Ohio. We're actually really lucky to have them here tonight because they came from DC yesterday. They were being filmed for a segment for the Noble Challenge, and I was like, okay, DC is not very far from Boston. Can you guys get up here, please? It's just these guys have traveled all over the country for Noble this year after they won. The crazy thing is, I was saying earlier, is Tyler, here on the left, he had never been on a plane before last year, before we brought him to San Francisco for the award show. And so since then, he's been on lots of planes, traveling all over. So anyways, I'd like to turn everything over to Scott and Tyler, and I can talk to you guys about the Noble Challenge. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we like making videos, I guess. So rather than like standing up here and explaining what we do, which we will do, but we want to kind of show a video first. And we do often Q&As. We like speaking at high schools more than like middle schools, but we speak at high schools, and often a common question is, how do you guys feel about speaking to teenagers your own age. And so this girl at the beginning of this intro video will demonstrate perfectly how we usually feel. Enjoy.
I wish we could all get along like we used to in middle school. I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and sorry. Be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
No, I just have a lot of feelings.
Okay, go home.
1 year ago, we embarked on the most incredible journey we could have possibly imagined. Something that was meant to be a small project in our school has landed us here, and we couldn't be any happier. The project we did included us making an anti-bullying video for the Great American No Bull Challenge, the nation's largest youth-led anti-bullying campaign. We did an assembly for our school to premiere this video and to also discuss bullying. This led to a principal from another school contacting us, asking us to do an assembly for her school. After that, we decided that we could make a legit change not only in our community, but in our nation. After doing our assembly for schools, camps, conferences, and meetings, we had the honor of being 2 of the 15 youth invited by the White House to the 2012 Federal Partners in Bullying Summit in Washington, D.C. This summit led us to become 2013 National No Bull spokespeople for the No Bull Challenge, the challenge that we ended the year prior. This meant that we would get to travel the United States sharing our message and promoting No Bull. Our dreams were starting to come true as some of the people that we looked up to most were encouraging us to keep going.
Hi, I'm Aaron Crump.
And I'm Vinny Degatine.
Together we're Empathy Films, and we're here to say we support the Great American No Bull Challenge.
Tyler Gregory and Scott Mann, keep doing what you're doing, because you're making a change.
Because we all know that bullying is baloney.
Hey, I'm All 610, and I support this gun.
Tyler Gregory and Scott Hannah, keep up the great work. You really are making an impact and making a change.
Hi, I'm Justin Chambers from Grey's Anatomy. I'm here to support the Great American No Bull Challenge. Congratulations to Scott Hannah and Tyler Gregory for your nomination this year. It's great work you guys are doing. Congratulations. Keep it up.
Hey, we're Keith and Mary Hudson. We're taking care of these parents all the way from Southern California.
Tyler, what you are doing is changing the world and saving lives.
National radio shows, talk shows, and magazines. Everything that comes our way, we accept with open arms because we realize the impact that we can have. Being able to talk with you all today is an example of an opportunity that we have both been blessed with.
So yeah, that was pretty much been the past year and a half for us. So yeah, about a year and a half ago, I would say maybe October-ish of 2011, it's about a year and a half, Scott and I were riding in a car to Toledo, Ohio, which was about a 3-hour car ride from where we lived. And they were talking about the suicide of a boy who lived in New York City. And they were talking about how the community members, his friends, his family, didn't see any warning signs of like him being bullied to the point where they thought that they should fear him taking his own life. And we got into a discussion about if there was anybody in our school who was like that, Is there anybody, the kid we don't really talk to, but we maybe know who we sit by in math class, are they in the same seat? And and nobody sees it, and we have the power to do something. So we figured we might as well take it or do something before it was too late. So we did what we called it positively post it or something like that, and we had students like write compliments about each other anonymously, and they were posted for the whole school to see. And it was a really successful project. We have about 60 students in a graduating class at our school, so maybe about about 200, 250 students in our school, and each student had a compliment about them, which is pretty much our goal. Yes, we had the right view, but I think that just them knowing that somebody thought something of them was really what made it so powerful. And then we found out about the Great American No Bull Challenge, and we had made some silly videos with friends in the past, and we were like, oh, this video competition about bullying. We're doing a project on bullying. There's really cool prizes. I've been to California, so we might as well give it a shot. And so we called a meeting we had it announced over the loudspeaker. Anybody who's interested in helping Scott Tyler with their anti-bullying video, meeting room 302. And 2 people came to that meeting. And we're like, all right, we'll do what we got. We'll start doing it. And so we took those 2 students and we started making a video. And students around the school started to kind of see what we were doing. They were passing in the halls as we were filming, and they wanted to help. So they were like, how can we help? And we're like, hold this sign. And so basically our video is just students holding signs that kind of talks about what bully victims or may feel when they're experiencing bullying. We let the students pick the signs that they held, so some of them were very, very personal, and actually some of the students were bullies who were in the film. And we weren't going to say, you can't be in this film because you're a bully, because that's kind of the whole point of our project. We wanted to, and if this is the opportunity for a bully to change, we're going to buy it all in this ticket. So basically, we wanted to premiere this video. We had 50 students. We started from 2, and we ended up with 50 in the video. And since there were so many students in the film, our principal wanted us to premiere it in front of the whole school. And with that, we were going to do a half-hour assembly to talk about bullying and what our peers can do when they see it. Because bullying had gotten way out of hand at our school. It was worse than it ever had been. And so we put together a half-hour assembly and we premiered our video. And I guess our principal bragged about us to other principals, because other principals started contacting us. And they were like, hey, we heard about the assembly that you boys did. Would you guys come and do it for my school? And that's kind of when we realized that, okay, maybe this wasn't meant to just be a project in our school. Maybe we were meant to take this a little farther and impact some greater or surrounding communities. And before we knew it, we were being asked to speak in places that we really could never possibly imagine. And we, on May 17th of 2012, we had a surprise assembly, which is weird, because surprise assemblies don't happen at our school. If there's an assembly, every student knows what it's about, because they need to know if they need to bring their sleeping bag and pillow, or they should be excited. So, because they'll get it out of the teachers, they'll be like, what's this about? And the teacher will tell them. But nobody knew what this assembly was about. And this assembly was to announce that Scott and I were nominees for the No Bull Challenge, for the Team Video Awards, for the video that we made. And that was just such an incredible feeling. And like I said before, we were already doing a project in our school about bullying. We liked making films, and the prizes were awesome. And so, I'm not saying that the prizes were our motive, but even if they definitely attracted us to the challenge. But by the time we got done creating our film, it didn't even matter if we were going to be nominees. Don't get me wrong, we really wanted to be, but the video did what it was meant to do. And I think that with any student who makes a film, whether you're like, why is that student making a film? They're bullies. I think they would be very surprised because, making the film just introduced us to so many stories, and it helped us make so many new friends that we never really thought people that we wouldn't normally talk to, when we talked to them, we heard stories, and it was pretty amazing. And then we flew to San Francisco, and Scott put us outside. when we went to San Francisco, we had the best feeling ever. We got to walk the red carpet, attend the Teen Video Awards with celebrities, and it was just an amazing feeling, celebrating what everyone got to do. And as you saw in the video of our journey, we won the Shining Star Award, and we actually got business cards since we were going around speaking at schools, and it said, "Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number." So call me. And it was a quote from Carly Rae Jepsen's song, and it was really ironic because last month we actually got to meet Carly Rae Jepsen, and we showed her one of the cards, and we never thought we would ever get to meet her, and it was just really ironic. So, being national spokespeople, we get to travel the United States speaking at national events in high schools, and it's just a great feeling to be able to get up in front of high schools and middle schoolers and inspire students to get involved in the Noble Challenge. Me and Tyler get so many Facebook messages on our Facebook every day. Students who are struggling, students telling us what they're doing in their school. And one story that a girl came up to me, or a girl messaged us on Facebook and said, "Hey, I'm going through a really tough time." She messaged us like a huge long book about everything wrong that's going on in her life. And it was really sad. She had a group of friends who abandoned her, and they told her she was God's worst creature on earth, and her brother died last year. And they came up to her the day of his death anniversary, and they said, "Oh, your brother's death anniversary is coming up. Have fun crying alone because you don't have any friends." And it was just terrible things like that. And this girl said she was crying herself to sleep. She wanted to die. She was thinking about suicide. And she was even eating lunch in the band room and hanging out with the janitor every day at lunch. And I asked her, has she gotten any help from any teachers or her principal? And she said no. She's scared to go to her principal because she said her principal is scary. And I asked her if she talks to her parents about it, and she said no. And I asked her why. They really should know what's happening. She said she was really embarrassed that she didn't want her parents to know that she was a failure or a loser. And I eventually talked her into it. I told her to tell her parents, and I told her to write a letter to her principal if she was too scared to go to him face-to-face. So she eventually did that. She eventually broke down in tears, told her parents everything, and she wrote back to me 2 weeks later and said, "Thank you so much, you saved my life. I was going to commit suicide, but I went to my principal. The 3 girls got suspended, 2 girls got expelled, and it's all because of my advice that I gave her." And that was just amazing. So those are the type of messages that Kyle and I get, and we try to help everyone who comes to our Facebook. So anybody has kids who are struggling, they could always ask us questions. Our Facebook's the Noble Guys. So, yeah, and we have to wrap up shortly so we can go to Q&A. But I just want to say real quick, as a student, I mean, I'm not saying this to, I guess, like, oh, there's no kids here, so they can't get any ideas or whatever. But I heard about, I'm not sure if this is even true, but I heard about this app. You know, iPhones have apps like Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. And it's an app to hide apps. You know, so if you want to show, like your parents says, "Let me see your phone," like, "I heard you have a Facebook, let me see your phone." I'll be like, "I don't have Facebook, look," and nothing's there. So I mean, there's a picture that says something ridiculous, and underneath they'll say like, "There's an app for that." There's like literally an app for everything, and everybody's really careful. So yeah, and the Noble Challenge, like I said, I think that it's really a good idea to encourage your kids to get involved. It's even if your kid doesn't know how to make videos. Scott and I, we were not professionals at all. There were 270 videos entered last year, and ours was one of the top 15 because it just simply had a powerful message. We borrowed our parents' video cameras. So it's a really, really unique and effective way to encourage students to get involved. All right, so now we're going to do Q&A for, I mean, you can ask Scott and I a question if you have a question, like student related, I guess, and Shawn, Obviously, she would be answering questions as well. So yeah.
I'd like to ask if either of you have been involved in the case of bullying, if you have been bullied or if you've been present, if you have been bullied yourself.
Yes, actually, basically, when we do our presentations for high schools and middle schools, basically, we tell the story. I mean, I have found myself in a position of being a bully before, on social media, obviously. So I mean, I share that story about how I was a bully, how I changed. I also went through a huge period of depression, and I share that story. Scott he has an instance where he was a bystander and he saw some really bad bullying going on, and I mean, he shares that story. So I mean, yes, we have. I mean, in a way, we've been on all sides. I mean, everybody's probably been a bystander, all the students, but yeah, we understand the side of a bully, we understand the side of a victim, and we understand the side of a bystander. We let the kids know that, you know, we're not perfect. I slip up and maybe say some things I shouldn't say on social media sometimes. But yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You were just talking about an app, right?
I didn't do any research. I just heard about it. A friend was telling me about it, but I honestly I didn't do any research or like look into that. But I'm sure a Google search like apps might.
I found it. It's a calculator does exist. If anyone wants to see the app, I'll be happy to show you. Because I spent the $1.99 to check it out. It's a calculator that looks just like an iPhone calculator. And you can hide all kinds of stuff.
Any other questions for Scott, I, or Shawn? Well, something else I kind of wanted to mention. Okay, go ahead.
So what do you, Facebook for about paper, what are some of the other things you know about? I know like apps that I've done, and some other websites, wondering what other things. What else would it be positive?
Yeah, Facebook, you know, Instagram is like kind of like a Facebook for just pictures. Twitter, Snapchat is becoming really popular. Where I live, I assume it's going all over. And so Snapchat, I mean, I use it for fun. I mean, some people abuse it, but Snapchat is definitely, I think, one of the biggest. It's getting more and more popular, and it's becoming really dangerous. Snapchat, okay, basically you can send a picture to a friend, okay, so I take a picture of myself, usually a silly face, and I'll send it to Scott, and you can put how long you want Scott to be able to view it, basically, and so I'll put 10 seconds, and then he'll receive it, and he'll be able to look at it for 10 seconds, and then it'll completely disappear unless he takes a screenshot of it. You can take a screenshot of it, and when he takes a screenshot of it, it notifies me that he took a screenshot, but I guess there's other ways where you can keep the photo. Like if you have another phone, you can take a picture of that picture, and that person never knows you have a screenshot of it. So a lot of kids don't even think about that. I heard that there's other ways, but I didn't look into that.
And so you know what's being sent out there on those, because I think the picture's going to be disintegrating in 10 seconds, so.
Right. Yeah.
I just wanted to, if you're not familiar with Snapchat, it's probably the most dangerous app that's out there now. And a lot of you kids, I'm sure, are using it. So I don't know how you can fight out using it if you don't have any restrictions, but it's really a dangerous one because they can send anything and they think it disappears, but as you said, a lot of times it doesn't disappear. And it's kept somewhere, all the images are kept somewhere on the server. So they're still there somewhere on the internet, and the kids don't understand that. But it's a real danger.
Yeah, it was actually fun. I was at a friend's house last week, and he has a little sister, and she was like, "Mom, can I have my phone back?" And I don't think that they realized I was in the room, or we were in the room. And she was like, "Mom, can I have my phone back?" And she was, because she got a Facebook, and she wasn't supposed to have a Facebook, her mom found out. And her mom was like, "I would give it back to you, but do you have any other social media sites?" And she's like, "No." And she's like, "Instagram's not a social media site?" And she's like, I didn't know. And so, I mean, some kids don't even know, like, I guess, when you say no social media sites, they don't even know that things are social media. You know, they just thought it was an app that their friends are doing. So yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
I've noticed with like my 13-year-old is getting into that kick.
Yeah.
And because of kind of like a cell phone use and text messages. And we've taken that away from them. What I've noticed is a lot of kids, they all go to the kick account, they all talk to each other. But when we've taken it away, I've noticed that almost eliminating some friends. It cuts off communication to the end of school and everything. So it almost like a backlash effect. So now we say lost for 3 or 4 days, it's all easy. That's not going to get taught. So how do you?
Just set the boundaries about what they can say and do on that, if you're okay with them using it. You know, just go through the rules of engagement, walk them through it, what's okay, what's not okay. Because you're right, usually taking it away doesn't work. They'll find some other way to access it. I mean, an iPod, a Nook. I mean, just about anything now can access online. They can set up anything really quick. So I would just say just go through everything, what you expect, and what the consequences would be if they break those rules. And, you know, let them earn the trust.
Yeah, because kids are smart. They'll know. I mean, if you disable picture messaging, you know, you can send pictures through Kick, I believe, and you can send pictures through Facebook Messenger. So I mean, like, and yeah.
AOL, Yahoo, MSN, Facebook, any chat site.
I was just explaining what Kick is. It's actually any instant messaging program all in one place. So whether they're chatting through Facebook, Yahoo Messenger, MSN, AOL, any other program site that has instant messaging, they can log into Kick and it will access any user on any one of those sites. So they don't have to be opening multiple windows or going on different places to log in. They can log in one place, and it's really bad because people who are on those other chat sites can access them in this one place also.
And 17 about that.
Yeah, a lot of apps will ask you if you're a certain age before you download it, and it's just as simple as yes or no. So I mean, kids don't listen to that, so yeah, definitely have to be careful.
I think the first thing is go set up an Instagram account. Set up a Facebook account for yourself, just so you understand how it works and what it is. And go through, again, the boundaries and the rules and talk to them about what's going on. What's happening, how old? 13, okay, so 13. Okay. Well, most parents still follow their kids. You know, they'll be a friend on Facebook and they'll connect on Instagram. But the reality is our kids are really smart. They can hide followers and friends, certain content. So they can say, I don't want my mom to see any photo like this. They don't want mom to see any direct messages. So, you know, the best thing, if you have their password, then you can log in as them. And you can actually see everything that they're receiving and that they're sending out, and they can't do anything about that until they set up another profile that you don't know about. And then what'll happen is you'll notice that one goes stale, and you're like, why is anything happening here? You'll know that there's another one somewhere that you need a password for. Yeah, I call it the Parent Network. We have a really great one in our town, and you know, it's great. You guys have this small, great community that's close to me, and really, if you have a Facebook account, you can Facebook your friends, you can text them, you can call them. But the reality is one thing that I see a lot of parents do is they will go onto their child's Facebook account, and they will then go onto their friends' Facebooks to see what they're posting.
because they want to see what kind of stuff's going on up there. Are they someone they want their child to hang out with? And so that's a lot of times where they do their research to really do a background check to see what's going on. Are they drinking? Is there sex? You know, what is happening? And so they do it through their child, and they go and they look at all the other friends they're connected to.
Ask FM. You can ask questions. I don't know, we set one up for the mobile guys for like a day and then go. But basically anybody can ask like an anonymous question and we can kind of answer it. We just did it kind of if anybody had any anti-bullying sort of questions, but a lot of people, I've seen so much bullying happen on that, you know, somebody, because it doesn't have to be a question, it can be a simple comment and it's anonymous, so I've seen a lot of really rude comments on there. But
it's like Farm Spring, all the anonymous social networks are they're ripe for bullying because again, they don't have to say who they are when they're posting. And so just keep your kids off those no matter what. Those are really bad. Farm Spring was one of our partners last year, and they pretty much went from, I would say, I don't know, 500 million users down to 100 million users in like a month when they started flagging inappropriate anonymous content. It was crazy. Like they just lost all of their users because they went to a lot of safety. They implicated a lot of rules and procedures and stuff around their network because it was being abused, and they just watched their users just drop off. And I really think they're going to be sold very soon as a result of that.
With that Ask FM, the person is anonymous, but can they actually be found if you date where the source came from?
I mean, I wouldn't know how to find that. I assume maybe the people in charge of Ask FM, if you really push, they could.
Oh yeah, you have to contact the social network. However, they have a privacy policy that they will not allow any information. They won't give any information out unless we have law enforcement that are able to subpoena records and get that information. As far as like a parent calling and asking who wrote this and who owns this profile, no. Yeah, there'd have to be a reason for them to get involved to actually, you know, to warrant doing something.
It's really bad. My daughter's 12 years old, and I found out by another parent that she was saying something anonymously, very sexual, disgusting comments.
And we have someone in the room here. Do you want to answer that as far as how she should? I know. Can you repeat that to my microphone?
It's a really bad website. My daughter's 12 years old, and
There was a lot of sexual rude comments made to her. Actually, I might want to stop with that. If this is personal, we have these volunteers to come talk to you after because we're being recorded, so I don't know if you want that to be recorded, or if you're okay with that, you can ask your question. Okay.
We ask them, is it just their friends or their circle of friends that can ask them questions, or is it anyone out there that can ask them questions? And go with.
Yeah, usually like students will post a link, say, ask me any questions, and so usually only people with the link can ask, but will ask. Usually only people with the will ask questions, but sometimes there's like trolls on the internet who look for vulnerable people and completely use them apart.
It's not private.
Are there any good resources where parents can specifically go to find out, like, how to sort of find out everything as far as how to get into their iPhones and everything. I feel like I'm flying blind a lot of times, and I don't know, like, how to find out what's going on.
Well, you're gonna need to get their passwords to one of their social networks to find out anything there.
But like, they can hide stuff. How do they know how to do that?
Do you have their password to their phone? So you can get into their phone?
Yeah.
You go through their photos on a regular basis, look at their videos on a regular basis, and go through their apps. Look at their Instagram. So what do you feel that you're missing? Oh, they are. They are.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a resource out there somewhere. I don't know the resource, but things for parents to watch out for that are new things that are coming out. I mean, for kids, it's just word of mouth. It's not like they have a website that they go to that's like, oh, there's this new thing. Like, I'm pretty sure it's just word of mouth.
Yeah, like
I'm not aware of
Snapshot was, I first heard about that last year, and I'm like, wow, that's like Mission Impossible type stuff. The message disintegrates, and it's really crazy technology, and the kids love it. So that's a big one to watch out for. Anything new, that's what they'll be on. That's a great point. That's in the settings. In the settings.
Something that I've done, trying to keep up myself as a parent, but also as a principal, is if you go to YouTube, if you have people go to YouTube, you can Google how do I set restrictions on an iPhone 4, and it'll visually show you step by step by step how you do that. So use the internet to get your answers. It worked for me. It will show me how to do that.
Everything you do.
And the other thing too is on the back in your packet, we have a list of resources and support, links to websites that you can go to for specific things, because there's a lot of resources out there for free that you can access. A lot of really great resources.
Yep, back.
You may have already answered this, but you may not know the answer. What's the next site? We already talked about Kate, we talked about apps, we talked about, are there other ones that we're not mentioning that you guys know that kids are about to use or are using right now that are more anonymous sites like that? I would have most of you.
I think we've covered them, the big ones, the really popular ones today. Instagram, Twitter, yeah, exactly.
Vine it's like a video thing. It's only 6 seconds, and you just like take video, hold your thumb down, and it video takes whatever you want, and then it just plays the 6 seconds, and that's all it is. It's kind of like Facebook, but just videos. Just like Instagram is just pictures, Vine is just videos.
So I've thought for like a year at least, I really watched the videos because we're starting to see sex videos versus just images. So really, you just look at the videos that are on your on the phones and also on their laptops that they have, and just watch out for that. That's really dangerous.
Well, there's actually many things I wanted to say, but I had a girl that we know open up a Facebook account in my middle school son's name. Now I know we authorized the account, so we kept a close eye on it. But she opened up an account using passwords that only she knows, using his middle name. How do I go about getting that removed? She's not doing anything derogatory on it, but I don't want it out there.
Yeah, call Facebook.
Call Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. Report it. There's a report function on Facebook, and then you need to call them. And you know what? Email me, and I'll give you my contact there.
Thank you.
We'll get it right down for you.
The other thing is, I was actually bullied in school, and as a result, my whole teenage years, I was just depressed and wanted nothing to do with school, and so when the situation arose with my children, two different kids, same household, same upbringing. One got into music, got into sports. It bothered him, but he overcame it. So I didn't even know it was an issue for a couple of years. This was in the Salem, Mass school district. Really bad bullying issues. I know it goes on everywhere. However, my younger son, the one I just referred to with the Facebook account, he was being bullied. And I went to the district and I went to everybody, and it was like they wanted him time, place, date, like everything they wanted. I'm like, he's in school, he's a student, same place, same time, same kids. A lot of things have changed since then, but I really felt like the teachers, the administrative staff were ill prepared. I know this is for students to students, but do you have resources for teachers to see bullying, how they can not just stand back and watch it happen? Do you have resources, anything like that for students and for faculty?
I really like iSafe. It's a great nonprofit organization. They provide a lot of resources to schools around the country. And one of the things that I think is really, really important with our kids is my son was being bullied for years, and he was just a nice kid, quiet, never spoke up. I got him into martial arts when he turned 15, and after about 3 months, it changed everything, and it really was all about his self-confidence and the way he carried himself. And it's amazing how something like that can just really change a whole, 4 or 5 years of really bad experience into a great last 2 years of high school. So I'm a big believer in whatever that sport or music or whatever that is. But something about martial arts is really, it's the way they carry themselves. They know, they feel confident, and they feel like they can hold themselves and carry themselves and no one's going to hurt them. Not that they're ever going to use it as a weapon, but I really do think that it helps with the self-confidence level. I mean, you should report it to Facebook. You report Instagram, whatever, it's the same thing. Absolutely report it. They're taking action very quickly now. Usually that was not the case, and now they have really changed their tune. And then as far as a death threat, it's really going to have to be, every situation is going to be very different, and you're really going to have to consider it and weigh it very quickly and decide if we need to go to the authorities for that. Excuse me? Yeah. Absolutely.
I actually challenged Uncle, which maybe he's done it, help take care of. He does not know how to use the computer at all. It took almost a year to get him off of Facebook because somebody created a page. A year.
How long ago was that?
It was last year.
Was last year?
And I actually have someone that was in level 3, the company level 3, which is the internet security.
Yeah, that's where my contacts are on the safety and security side. And they are prioritizing things. However, I feel that Facebook is really doing a pretty good job compared to what it was, like a year or 2 years ago. They're just trying to keep up with 1.1 billion users. You can imagine what they're dealing with over there.
Well, at this point in time, I would like to thank Shawn and Tyler and Scott for their presentation this evening. Thank you very much for being here this evening. We've started a very important conversation. We can continue the conversation out in the lobby if you'd like to stay. There's water and cookies out there for you. And Shawn and Tyler Scott will be out there to speak with you. Please fill out your evaluation form. The students are waiting to grab it. And again, thank you so much for being here.